So I had someone message me and ask if they could use the wheels and tires off of the Razor 800 for Heartland because they were running an 800, and yeah, they didn't have any spares because it's not their normal race machine, but they didn't want to run their normal one. So I'll pull the wheels and tires off of that. I'm trying a different camera and a different style with a different microphone, and I hope it works, and if it doesn't, I'm throwing this all away and start again. So that's what I got. I'm gonna set you guys up and you can watch me take that crap off. I know you're all going to say putting logs under there wasn't going to work. I know. I see that. The reality is I don't care. I'll just get the tractor out here and lift it up when it's time to put all this stuff back on, and that'll be that. Chain it to the cage, lift it, tractor, easier than that.
Screwing up, tired of going down, tired of myself, tired of this town.
Eminent Waste of Time, presented by CW Motorsports, episode 99. I'm Doug.
And I'm Chad.
And we're doing the whole we're in different locations thing. Basically, this came about because Chad decided that he didn't have anything meaningful to talk about today, so what better chance for me to come on the show and regale you with my wit or something
stuff
like that. Yes, stuff.
So basically what happened is I'm trying to get everything around here around my house between Sunday Drive, Heartland Challenge coming up. I'm leaving my current job and all that fun stuff, that going to a race this weekend was just out of the question for me.
So we're going to back up there a second. Have you told the good folks out there what's possibly happening with your employee?
No, and I'm not going to tell them all of it yet. We're going to leave that as a surprise. Some people know the guys who I talked to at the last race I went to, they know. Because we talked about it there live, but nothing was recorded when talking about it.
So only the people on your inner circle.
Right. So, all you guys out there in the internet world, I am leaving my current employer. Not because I'm being forced to quit or fired, but because I am choosing to.
I know that shocks all of you as much as it shocks me, but...
I know. I totally could just be fired, and everyone would be like, yep, that seems about right. But no, I am leaving my current employer. So, here in the next few weeks, I will announce what's going on with that. So... Should be fun. It should be fun.
Without revealing too much to any of you out there, because this is Chad's news, this is a huge but very, very good shift.
Yeah.
This was not, like he said, this wasn't a had to find a job or found something slightly better or, you're making an extra $2,000 a year. This is kind of a dream come true situation.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Big time. So yeah. So let's touch on some of the things first that happened this weekend that I missed, that you missed, that we all missed, basically. So this weekend was an MWXC race, and
out of the Badlands, right?
It was. It was an addition to the Badlands property that they have gotten that they have not really put part of the park on yet. So
So
they had a
raw.
race out there. Yeah, it's basically raw property. I think it had some trails on it. It wasn't completely like never been ridden, but it's now officially owned by the Badlands anyway.
I wonder if it's less sandy, because most of the Badlands is kind of dune-like.
Yeah, they have a big chunk of sand there. Actually, it looked pretty dusty from the video footage that I've seen. I'll try and splice some of that in here, maybe. I'm pretty bad about doing that, actually, but it just takes time. Lots of
Yeah.
time.
It does take time. People think this is all fun and games, and that's only 90% of it. There actually is some work.
Yeah, for like the half hour or an hour that we sit here and talk, there's 2 or 3 hours worth of editing.
And,
But anyway.
And obviously none of that goes into making us look any better.
No, and we don't get paid for it, so
There's no hope for that.
it is what it is. Who was it? Mitch Langford got first place. I didn't get all of the rundown because they have bad cell coverage out there, and they just didn't. They haven't posted anything. That's just from people that I've seen who have posted what happened, what the results were. I know Austin Renard or Reynard or however you pronounce it. I don't know. Anyway, Reynard, whatever. It. By the way it's spelled, it could be pronounced any of those ways.
Yeah, but I got to sit next to Erica for a number of years. It's
Yeah, good point. Okay, Rannard. Good enough. Anyway, I guess he wiped his car out.
Oh,
Like totaled it.
Not like a bent A arm or something.
No, he was moving at a reasonable clip. I think he said it was around 35, 40 mile an hour, and hit like a 1,500-pound chunk of concrete that was just off the track.
Oh, yeah.
It bent the frame, it bent the bulkhead, it bent A-arms, it just...
So it's realistically totaled. I mean, you
Yes.
could rebuild it, but why?
Yes, I don't know what he's going to do, if he is going to total it, or if he is going to rebuild it. I don't know.
Now, he's in an X3 this year?
Yes, he is.
So,
It-
well, if anybody's up for a one half of a good X3,
If you can get creative with a frame pulling machine, which I could, but
I was just gonna say maybe you need to call him up. That sounds like something right up your alley.
yeah. I got too many other projects right now to take on one that I need to straighten the frame on and rebuild the whole front end.
Well, yeah, but you'll need something to do this winter.
Yeah. Yeah, let me tell you how much I'll need to do. So, I guess a lot of the guys, though, that we run around with, that we talk about a lot, I think Barry Miller ran. Devin, I don't know if he ran. I saw a picture of Devin in an RS1, but I don't, in Barry's RS1. I don't know if that means he ran in it, or if he just was sitting in it.
Or is this actually Devin in a Razor 2019?
It could be. But a lot of the guys like Steve and guys that are going to run Heartland just didn't run MWXC this weekend. It's too close.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's really kind of tough to go out there and try and run a machine at the risk of wiping it out, or even if you do minor damage, you are scrambling now to overnight parts and try and put it together for a 4-hour endurance race. So that's tough. If it's something you've been looking forward to all year, I'd be on the cautious side too.
Yeah, and Heartland is one of those events that you have to plan ahead. You have to be ready. I mean, it takes some serious planning to do Heartland.
For sure.
But
put a new belt on your machine.
let's see. We'll get to Heartland here in a minute, but let's talk about your situation and what's going on with your life before we get into actual UTV news.
Okay, so I'm going to move out of the way so you can see these file cabinets. And, okay, there's nothing actually interesting there. I am at my in-laws' house, which is where currently my family and I are living.
Welcome to the 7th circle of hell.
I love my in-laws, but I am ready to love them from a little bit larger distance than just up the hall.
Yeah.
So they've been very kind to us in opening their home. I mean, I was kind of looking at getting an apartment or something along those lines. But we're up here because we needed to get up here in time for the kids to start their school year. The house, so today is the, 18th.
18th. Yep, 18th.
Okay. So Today's the 18th. We sold our house 3 weeks ago. We're supposed to close either this Friday or this Monday after a delay. The buyer's doing an FHA loan, and if you know anything about FHA loans, they always go slow.
And they're a pain.
They always become a big pain, and that's going to dovetail into our talk here in just a couple seconds.
Yeah.
So anyways, we're waiting for that loan to close so we can make an offer on a house up here. So we're probably realistically like end of September before we're going to be in a place of our own. But at least we have a place to be. I'm now working the same job I had at IU. I'm just doing it remotely. This earbud is not going to stay in. There. Just need to shove harder. So, keeping my job at IU, going to be working remotely, already doing that. That part of it's going well. We've got our eyes on a house that's been sitting on the market for a little while, so we think that's probably going to end up being ours at this point. So, it's just kind of that waiting game. But FHA loans, if you know anything about them, they have a bunch of restrictions. Like, there can't be any peeling paint, and everything has to be just about perfect, because it's a federally assisted home loan application process. And they didn't like my shed. I want to call it the barn because it looked like a small barn, but it's one of these, I don't know, 8x12 yard barn types of things. And it had been there possibly as long as the house, which I put it sometime back in the 70s. Yeah. It was in admittedly rough shape. It wasn't about to fall over on its own. And for being out in the country, it's the kind of stuff people don't care about. They just, if it falls over, then you you do something with it.
Right. The crappier it gets, the less important things you put in it.
Exactly. Until the day it falls over, and then you just have a weenie roast over it.
Right.
Well, FHA decided that I either needed to fix said barn or demolish said barn. Well, there was no way I was about to fix it, so we went the demo route. So right about in here, Chad's going to throw some video in of the initial destruction and then the subsequent disposal, we shall say.
Yeah. So we'll cut to that so that they can get the full effect.
So that's what we did yesterday. Chad was gracious enough to come over with his brother's dump trailer and a tractor, and we made pretty short work of it. I mean, it was structurally sound, but after Chad took off one of the walls, the rest of it went pretty quick.
Yeah. So
that's all in process. We're just trying to get settled up here. At least we have a place to be for the time being, and things are going okay, but I'm just ready to be done. I hate selling houses. I hate buying houses. And now the two are separated because you have to wait for one and then the other. So this whole process end to end is going to be like 75, 80 days.
Right.
Which is awesome.
I also got to introduce Doug into something that he'd never done before, and that was joyous, very joyous.
Chad was giggling for hours.
It was fun.
So when you sell a house, you have to clean out all the stuff you don't want, and obviously the new home buyer doesn't want either. That included a bunch of, if you've ever done any kind of handyman project, or I think if you've just lived in this country for more than 3 years, you have a collection of old, half-used spray paint cans. Mm-hmm. Well, it just so happens we had a nice roaring bonfire outside. So Chad decides to dispose of said paint cans in the fire, which, I don't know, we had, about a dozen of them?
Yeah, 12 or 15, something like that.
So you'll see in the video, we probably just played for you already, the bonfire was close to the pole barn. Not like right on top of it, but close enough that you could toss these paint cans into the fire from the pole barn, which is a really good idea because they make a rather pronounced bang when they finally decide to blow.
Yes, they do.
So we're standing in the pole barn chucking these things into the fire, and Chad's not counting how many he threw in there. So most of them, pretty clockwork, like 60 to 90 seconds, blow up.
Right.
There's a few that have other ideas. One of them turns into this screaming, whirling dervish that is going for Chad's dad's diesel truck. It stopped about 10 feet short from going underneath it, which could have been even more interesting.
And continued to spin while on fire.
Yes, as they do. I probably should have videoed that too.
Yeah, that's evidence though at that point.
We do believe in full plausible deniability on this show.
Right.
So we didn't film any of that. And then the aftershocks were the fun part because evidently we threw in about 2 more than we thought, and those went off at random times between about 5 minutes and 15 minutes after the initial throwing them in the fire. So those were fun because they were totally unexpected.
And shrapnel and hot coals flying everywhere.
There was stuff everywhere. There's stuff all over the driveway because this fire was big, very big. In fact, we cut the video before it got to its peak.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of updraft and a lot of smoke, and we're throwing these things in the heart of that, so it's just shooting flaming hot shrapnel everywhere. It's beautiful.
And giant fireballs. It was great.
It was awesome. And my neighbors were out in the yard. They had kids out at the pool. And I'm sure they were wondering. I mean, even for our area, which is used to gunfire and, people going out and shooting ARs and, lighting fireworks, this was probably a little closer to home than they were used to.
Yeah. So, but you'd never done that. I was amazed.
No, most of my life has been in significantly more residential settings than that, so. The kind where people start calling cops if you do it.
Yeah. I've done that since I was a little kid. That's always great.
I believe it, but you know what you did? You had that childish grin on your face. I could tell that was taking you back to a special spot in your life.
Yeah. Little 8-year-old Chad chucking paint cans in the fire. Like I told Doug. Yeah, like I told Doug, I've been standing next to the fire when one went off before. That's not fun, but
that's a quick way to fill your shorts. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely ups your heart rate real quick. So
that was fun. And then it started raining after you left, so that was kind of neat. Now I had this. It didn't put the fire out, but it definitely increased the smoke output significantly for a little bit there. And the wind shifted. When you were there, it was all blowing away from the barn.
Right.
When the rain came in, it all started blowing towards the barn.
Hmm.
And I've got the doors open, and the barn is filling with smoke right as the guy comes to pick up the lawn tractor I was selling. So we're in there, breathing fiberglass fumes.
What?
He's wanting to, check this tractor out carefully and make sure it's what he thinks it is. And I'm like, you may not want to be in here very much longer. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever. It's fine.
So, I don't know if you stopped by my place on the way home from church today, but I'm assuming it didn't burn to the ground.
No.
That's a plus.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's good. It's fine.
It's fine.
That's the full report.
So, yeah. Well, that's what we did yesterday, so that also added to the why Chad didn't go to the races.
So, it's my fault, but I really do appreciate the help.
Yeah, that's how it is. So, Heartland is coming up at the end of this week.
I am really super bummed I'm going to have to bail. I had planned on it, but some things got shifted at work, and I have to go down to Bloomington the day after Heartland finishes. Well, it finishes on Sunday, so really Monday's like a recovery day, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, I have to go down to Bloomington for an all-hands meeting. I come back home on Wednesday night, so I'm home Thursday, and then Friday I fly out for Mozambique, and I don't get back till September 9th.
Yeah.
And so if I go to Heartland, it ends up being I'm not home for almost 3 weeks in a row. I mean, just 2 days out of 3 weeks, and that's kind of not feasible.
Yep. I understand that. So
next year, I'm putting it on the calendar, assuming they don't move it. So I can actually blame this on Heartland, because if they would have left it alone, I probably could have done it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to put it on the calendar, and we actually have some latitude as to when to schedule some of these international trips. So if I know 6 months in advance, then I'll, nope, that's not going to work. We'll have to shift it.
All right, good deal. So, I assume you're still planning on making it to Southern Mud Riders.
Yes. I don't have anything on the calendar until 2 weeks after that in November. October actually is I don't think I'm traveling anywhere, which is kind of rare for me. So
okay,
that's going to be a have to.
Okay.
I can't let Shane down. I'll never hear the end of it.
Right. So that's good. All right. I want to make sure. But anyway, back to Heartland. They're Devin can't make it this year. Barry can't make it this year. I don't think Alec is going to make it.
Planned his wedding, pretty
around
well in
it.
Advance of this, and then they shifted the date right on top of it. So
he actually planned around it to begin with.
He did.
And then they shifted the date on top of his wedding.
I'm trying not to be too hard on him, but I mean, you got guys planning their wedding around your race. You need to leave the dates alone.
Yeah, that's my opinion too. I understand that they had a conflict, and the guy who supplies their lights couldn't be there, the lights couldn't be there, whatever it was, on the date that they had originally set. But there are thousands of people planning their vacation and planning time on this, shifting is not the best.
Yeah, it really made it rough for a lot of people. Like I said, I actually could have gone had they left it alone, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, is what it is, and we're in the boat we're in. So.
Yep. But you're going to be there, and are you riding with someone, or I've heard different people talking different stories, so I didn't know.
I am not.
Okay.
I had the opportunity to, but I'm going to video and hopefully do some live streaming if cell coverage allows for.
From what I remember, last year I had decent coverage there. So
That's what I remember. So I have already talked to Andy Kiner, who is the owner of that series as well, and he has offered the press booth to me, which is right next to the obstacle, like rock garden thing. He said, "Go ahead and set up in there for as much of it as you want. It's all yours."
You high roller.
I know, almost like I'm somebody, but I'm not. So
You're
just so you
somebody to
guys,
someone. I'm
Yeah.
not saying me, just someone.
Yeah. So he said, go ahead and set up in there, and if I wanted to do a podcast during or live stream or whatever I wanted to do, it was all mine. So I'm going to be doing something from there. Kevin Spangler is going to be helping me out with some videoing and possibly on like the live streams and the podcast.
Nice.
Because his racing or riding, whatever he was going to do, fell through. So he said, "Hey, you going to be there and you need help?" I said, "I will always take help."
Heck yeah.
So
you could have 5 people helping out there easily.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean, we talked about Sunday Drive even and how much work that is, and there was really just 2 of us filming and a bunch of cameras. But I don't think people understand how much footage we actually collect for something like that.
I mean, to show how desperate Chad was, he actually pulled me out of retirement on that.
Yeah, I was like, "You got to come help." And I don't think I even shared this number with Doug, but I think I ended up getting 140 gigs worth of data, of video footage from an afternoon.
I believe it. Yeah. And that's really a relatively short amount of,
Right.
if you look at it, the video all overlaps, because if you've watched Sunday Drive, you'll see the different camera shots through the woods. So the video overlaps. So basically, all the cameras were on for about 90 minutes.
An hour. Yeah, an hour and a half, something like that.
So 90 minutes and that much data.
Yeah. And it wasn't set on high resolution. Everything was filmed in 1080 at 30 frames a second, except for a couple cameras, which were higher than that. But most everything was 1080 at 30 frames a second.
Yeah. So nothing, no 4K, no 8K, nothing crazy.
Yep. Did a couple that we could slow down a little bit, but not much. It's just massive amounts of data to sift through and video footage to sift through, and it'll be the same for Heartland because that's 4 hours. Mm-hmm. Now, I probably won't film as much as it gets darker simply because the cameras don't do as well, but I'll get some shots in the lighted areas.
Sure.
So.
Well, and pro tip on that, keep your lens zoomed out all the way so you get the widest possible shot and just move closer, because on that wide shot, you'll get more light coming in. It'll make it look a little better. But when it's dark, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, it just is what it is.
Yeah.
So, yep, that's what I'm going to do. We've got group chats going in Messenger to get food plans for everybody. Steve and several people are showing up on Thursday, midday or afternoon or something like that. I'm going to go over to Illinois, to Effingham, meet up with Cody on Thursday afternoon, and then we're going to drive in, and we'll get there later in the evening Thursday night, probably 10 o'clock or something like that. So we won't be there for any meals on Thursday, and then Friday is UTV race day, so nice. That'll start early in the morning with the kids and all that stuff, and then, it'll do the morning and then the afternoon races, and it should be a good time. It's just going to be a lot of filming. I need to remember to bring my sun hats.
Yes, you do.
I don't want to bake.
No, that's a long time to be out there in the sun. I'm really, honestly, bitterly disappointed that it's just not going to work out for me this year, because that was probably the highlight of my year last year in terms of UTV racing.
Yeah. For racing, I think it's the best event to go catch. It's just, it really is neat. And
There's
the
nothing
4
else
hours
like it
goes
out
by
there right now.
That 4 hours goes by so quick too.
It does. It feels like it's going to be an eternity, at least in your head, but then it's over before you know it.
Yeah, I mean, Steve and I broke right away, and by the time we got the machine back, and it really didn't take us that long. Like, we walked back to the trailer and got parts, and then came back. Half the race was over, and it's like, it didn't take us long, but it just, time goes by quick. And I was telling somebody else who's going from the local area, they said that, they were getting ready to go out there. I said the name of the game is survival. That's all it is. You got to be quick, too. I mean, there are other guys that will survive, but it's survival.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, looking forward to that. That should be a good time. And then Cody and I actually leave Saturday morning, and we're going to Minneapolis, Minnesota to a dealer show. To an aftermarket parts like UTV dealers show, so I'm gonna hopefully see some stuff there. So there's more video footage I'll have to sort through.
I mean, on average every hour we shoot, it takes about 3 hours on the backside to make something out of it, and we're not going crazy with the production, obviously. I mean,
right?
We make it look decent, but we're not one of these channels that has 20 million followers that spends tons on post-production because they're actually making money. But
we got 20 or so followers.
Yeah. We're up over 200 now, like 210.
Yeah, it'd be nice if there's more. So yeah, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, whatever.
All that good stuff.
Or don't, whatever. So I wanted to keep this one relatively short. Plus, we're going to have the video slid in there. So,
yeah,
I've got your trivia ready. Because I know that you haven't done it in a while, and that's super important to you.
I have not bombed on trivia in a while, yeah.
Yep. So, are you ready?
A big gaping hole in my heart.
I know. All right. Question number 1. Saddam Hussein did what in his spare time? It was a hobby of his.
Okay, family friendly.
Yes, it is family friendly.
Saddam Hussein did needlepoint.
No.
Like the little things you see above old ladies' toilets in the bathroom.
No. He wrote romance novels.
That's awesome. I'm so looking for one of those. They have to be published somewhere, right?
I would think so, yeah.
Oh, that's happening. I got to read one now.
All right, question number 2. This one's a 50-50 chance, so...
I like my odds better than normal.
Yep. Do cheetahs roar or meow?
So
are they like a lion that they roar?
I don't think
jaguar?
I think
or do they meow like a cat?
I know they're considered a big cat, but I don't think they roar.
You are correct. They just meow.
I kind of want to hear a cheetah meow now. It's just like a slightly bigger version of a house cat, or
yeah, pretty much.
I think we've talked about this before. I'm wicked allergic to cats, and Chad finally realized how bad it was because he's got the cats at his house. One of his cats came by and scratched my foot, and I mean, it was just the lightest. It wasn't like a draw blood type of thing. That thing swelled up into a welt like instantly.
Poor Doug.
Poor Doug. Okay.
All right, question number 3. What is Radithor? Spelled Radithor.
Radithor, some sort of radiation resistance medication?
No, it's the other way, actually. It's a radioactive energy drink that was sold in the 1920s.
That's awesome. Why does my skeleton feel all holy?
I guess some of the people that really liked it or drank it a bunch, they actually ended up burying them in lead coffins.
Oh, that's terrible. Seriously. I mean, I know that was back during the we don't know what, everything's going to be nuclear and great and we don't know what this stuff does yet era, but jeez, oh Pete. Yeah. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. All right, question number 4. 1 million seconds ago was the week before last. So I'm trying to give you for scale here, okay?
Okay.
So 1 million seconds ago was the week before last. How long ago was 1 billion seconds?
The week before. 1 It'd be, what, 1,000-ish weeks prior? Like, what unit
I'm
of time
looking
are you looking for here?
Let's go with years. What year?
So 200 years prior?
No, not that far. It would be 1987.
Oh, wow. I muffed that pretty bad.
Yeah. I think people often don't think of the vast difference between 1 million and 1 billion.
Yeah.
So, yes, 1987.
So it's 1,000 million.
Yes. So, question number 5. What is TSA's failure rate at catching criminals and terrorists?
Oh, like 98%.
Is that your answer?
Yeah.
It's not quite that high. It's 80%.
Okay.
But they are like they are the most inefficient.
All the other arguments aside, whether you like it or not, the reality is the only thing that was going to stop 9/11 was people not sitting on their butts and stronger cockpit doors.
Right.
I mean, no amount of screening was going to prevent that, and there's still... I've lived in this country. I was born in this country. I've been here 39 years. My police record is as boring as a white wall, and yet I still have to take my shoes off and have my bag searched and whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways.
It's stupid. All right. Anyway, question number 6. What is the average length of a freight train in the U.S.?
Oh, man. Feet or... Give me a unit.
Yeah, let's go with feet.
I'm going to say 1.5 miles, so that's 7,800 feet or so.
It is actually 1.25 miles.
Okay. I wasn't too far off.
So 1.25 miles is 6,600 feet.
Yeah. See, I wasn't bad. 1.5 miles.
No.
You had a little over that.
Yeah, you were really close, actually. All right. In the 1970s, Orville Redenbacher paid $13,000 to an ad agency to come up with a name for his popcorn. What name did they come up with?
Isn't it just Orville Redenbacher's?
I'm not saying he used it or didn't use the name. I'm saying what name did they come up with?
Oh, okay.
I'm not telling you either way.
I keep thinking Pop Secret, but I don't think that's Orville Redenbacher. I think that's somebody else.
I think that's another brand.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
So I probably just gave you that much that's not the answer, but...
I don't know. How about there's only corn in Indiana? There's only popcorn in Indiana.
Nope. They just came up with the name that he should just call it Orville Redenbacher.
And he paid them how much?
$13,000 in the 70s.
So that's probably like closing at $100,000 today?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, neat.
Nice. Okay.
I'm in the wrong business.
Yeah, no kidding. Question number 8. What is a whitesmith and a brownsmith? Stop being racist, Doug.
Whitesmith... no, because the silversmith does silver. Whitesmith sculpts snow, and a brownsmith...
They forge snow.
They forge snow. I'm trying to think of a white metal. I don't know. Yeah, they're forging magnesium. How about that? Because that would be exciting. I'll go with magnesium and brown. Rusty iron.
No, a whitesmith forges tin, and a brownsmith works in copper.
Why would they just call him a coppersmith?
I don't know.
Okay.
That is an actual thing, though. A whitesmith works in tin, and a brownsmith works in copper. Now, not exclusively those, but like the copper is copper and brass. It's softer metals like that.
I mean, it makes sense because, blacksmith, there's obviously other colors assigned to other things, but I've honestly never heard those terms.
Yeah, they're pretty rare. So,
I'm doing terrible today. Yay!
No. Question number 9. Despite it being illegal, how many prostitutes are there in the U.S. and in the world? These are estimated numbers.
Okay, population of the U.S. is 350 million, give or take. So I'll go 2 million in the U.S. and worldwide. That's going to be a lot. It's not as frowned upon elsewhere as it is here. 7 billion people. 450 million worldwide.
1 million in the U.S. and 40 million worldwide.
I guess I figured overseas they were a
lot
worse than
more.
they are.
Nice, Doug. What do you do when you go overseas?
I avoid them like the plague.
They're all over, though.
Well, no, I assume everyone's a prostitute, so I don't talk to anyone.
Oh, okay, good call. All right, question number 10, last one. Robert Downey Jr. hid what all over the set of The Avengers?
Man, this is one I feel like I should know, but I have never heard this. Iron Man action figures.
No, he hid snacks all over. That's how the one scene that got in there, where he offers Captain America blueberries, that was a snack that he hid around there, and it was just impromptu, and he just said, "Blueberry?" And he offered him a snack that he had hidden.
Is he like hypoglycemic or something? He just has to have snacks all the time?
No, I don't think so. I think he just hid snacks all over in case he got hungry.
That sounds like a Robert Downey Jr. thing to do.
Yeah, it does.
Nice.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't get any of those right. I mean, I got close, but I don't think I hit any of those on the head, did I?
No, yeah, you got the cheetahs. They meow.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And you got really close on the train, so we'll give you half an internet point there.
Sweet. 1.5 out of 10. That's actually pretty good for me.
That's not bad.
Especially when you pull some very interesting trivia.
Thank you. I don't know. Well, is that a compliment or not?
You pull some very interesting trivia.
Yes.
So, do I have to do my old duties since I'm back on the show?
Do you want to do your old duties, or do you want me to do it? Your call.
I feel like I should do it.
Okay, go for it.
All right, we do want to say a big thank you to all of our sponsors. Of course, our title sponsor, CW Motorsports. We've also got Watch Communications on board, who inexplicably is still hosting this podcast and our website.
Don't tell them any different.
No, in fact, I just got our sponsorship. They have to send us a bill every month, but then they comp us the value of the bill back because they're sponsoring us. So I got another $0 bill from them last month, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
So anyways, if you are looking for hosting for your website that shows people where to better hide snacks or whatever it is you do, you can go to watchcom.net and use the code waste of time, all lowercase with no spaces, and that will get you a free month of hosting. Also, if you live in rural parts of Indiana or Ohio and can't get crap for internet, they might be able to hook you up with something, so check them out.
Yep.
We've also got Spangs Fab out there, and of course TGM Off-Road. Spangs is making some of the best parts out there you can possibly buy for your machine, and TGM Off-Road is a great group of guys who like to eat and occasionally ride. So if you need jambalaya recipes, it's the place to go. And if you want to go riding, maybe they're doing some of that too. It's tough to say.
Yep, likely they are. And while we're talking about that, if you guys would like to subscribe to the YouTube section of this, down below, if you're watching this, there's a subscribe button and a bell. Go ahead and click on that.
And you can find us on the web at eminentperformance.com. You can find the video version of the show on YouTube. Just look for Eminent Performance. Actually, we have our own name now. You can go to youtube.com/eminentperformance.
Yep,
and it will
we're
take
official.
you there. It's like magic. Let's see. You can find us on the web, also on Facebook /Eminent Racing, on Instagram @Eminent Racing, and you can get the audio version of this on Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, and pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast, we're probably there.
Yep, we're everywhere, like a virus.
Like a virus. The internet's great. We can infect so many people at once.
Yes, we can.
That's all in places.
So I do have a stupid stuff with Chad.
Ooh. You mean besides the stuff yesterday?
Yeah, besides that. I mean, that was just working with Chad. That's not stupid
That was daily stuff with Chad.
Right. So this one actually isn't me, but it involved me. So our church was doing it was like a prison ministry thing where they were making a bunch of cookies for the inmates. And my mother-in-law, they basically said, whoever wants to bake cookies, here's this recipe you're supposed to follow. That way all the cookies looked the same, tasted the same, all this and that. So my mother-in-law volunteered to make some cookies. that was nice of her. So she gets the recipe and makes these cookies. And so basically what they do before they take them to the inmates is they'll grab like one out of each bag just to make sure they all look the same, and, and taste test the ones that maybe look a little funny just to see, make sure that they're all similar.
Sure.
So my mother-in-law's cookies that she brought there did not look the same necessarily. So we were there getting ready to send them all out, and one of the guys grabs one of the cookies to taste test him. Well, she had substituted what was supposed to be sugar and did salt. 4 cups of salt in those cookies.
My father-in-law would love them because he is one of these salt addicts. Salt.
Oh no, my wife is saying she is the one who grabbed the cookie. So
I was going to say, I heard Brandy's, soothing voice in the background.
Yeah, she's yelling at me that I'm telling the story wrong, but that's the story. Anyway.
That's awesome. I actually have a
4
similar
cups
story.
of salt.
I went to Hacienda, which is a local restaurant chain here in northern Indiana for Mexican food. Mm-hmm. And they have really good churros there. They bring them out with caramel sauce and chocolate sauce, and they're amazing. So they're rolled in cinnamon sugar and then deep fried.
Yeah.
Mine were rolled in salt. Sugar.
Margarita salt.
That was a seriously rude awakening when I just dipped it in a bunch of chocolate and took a big bite, and I about threw up there on the table. It was terrifyingly bad.
Yeah, how do you think those cookies were?
And then the best part is the lady comes back out, and I tell her, hey, these got rolled in salt instead of sugar, and she looks at me like, okay, brings them back, and then she comes back out 10 minutes later with a fresh batch, and she's like, you're right, they did roll those in salt. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I didn't confuse the two substances. I
right.
kind of know what it is.
They're different. Very, very different.
Just a bit.
So, all right, that's all we got.
That it?
That's it.
I get to close this thing?
Yeah, go for it.
Alrighty. And no matter what salty surprise you've gotten this week, thanks for riding along with us.
Thanks, guys.
Tired of screwing up, tired of going down, tired of myself, tired of this town.